Ivo Martins.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
Doing excellent as always.
Great to hear.
Yeah.
So
I'm just doing a random, anybody can join YouTube thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like a podcast but in video.
A podcast in video. Well, it's not even a podcast because I don't have a topic. I'm just like, anybody can come in and just, discuss or talk or something. And then I'll chop up the parts that are interesting and put it on YouTube. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. It's a great idea.
Yeah. Are you, do you have anything to do with Nigeria? Are you based in Nigeria?
No, I'm based in Angola.
Angola? You are from Angola?
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. You are another interesting oil economy, isn't it?
It is quite, in some ways, quite similar to Nigeria, but smaller. But some of I would say some of the hurdles and are similar.
Yeah. What's the population of Angola?
It's 30 million people.
That's still quite big.
It is already big. The landmass, I think it's bigger than Nigeria, but the majority of population it's still living in Luanda. 10 million people, 10 million people, so a third.
Yeah,
and
well,
Luanda is quite small.
I'm a big fan of urbanization. I think that it drives progress quicker. And if up to me, I would eliminate all villages completely and just put everybody in Africa in a city. I mean, that's very radical, but I do have these radical ideas all the time.
Yeah, I think I saw a couple of tweets of yours mentioning that. It's a matter of optimization, right? So with fewer resources, you can serve more people at the same time. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, and I think for when this, will I say, a very traditional society, an old society, where people are not educated, and you really need to catch up, and you need to do it quickly. It happens much faster in the city compared to the villages. Because if it's a big country and you've got little villages everywhere, it's very difficult to get the resources to each and every village to get the same standard of education. And I think, just for a while at least, everybody should cluster, get themselves educated, build wealth, and then they go back and farm the rest of the countryside. That would be my opinion.
Okay. Here, for instance, the narrative is, to foster the development in the rest of the provinces. But a lot of problems arise when you start to really think about it. It's the rest of the infrastructure, all the public infrastructure that you need: roads, railroads, hospitals, schools. So in order to make that attractive for people to move to the interior of the country, it's not so easy. At least for now.
But generally, if you look at a country like Nigeria, there's a limited amount of money, but Nigeria is set up in such a way that there are cities everywhere, right? And they need to take all the money and spread it out over every single city, every single town, every single village. And I feel like there just isn't enough money to make this happen. So all the cities look really bad, and all the cities are very poorly maintained. But if they would concentrate the money like they did in Abuja, Abuja is a nice city, well set up and everything, because it really got a big concentration of money all at once. So in my opinion, if they would pick maybe 6 cities and say, okay, well, for the next 5 years, we're doing these 6 cities, and let's really focus the money there, and let's focus their attention most especially, then you'd really get 6 nice cities that are well developed and well planned. That to me is the most important part, that it's well planned and it's just not just some random, people building shacks everywhere. Then after those ones are working, there's, everything looks okay. And then you move on to the next, set of cities and so on. I think China has something like that where they have got tier 1 cities, tier 2, tier 3, and so on.
Yeah, definitely. I saw. There's this guy. He has a TikTok. I follow him, and he mentioned that too. So they qualify their cities as tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. I don't know if it's based on the GDP of the city, population, or a combination of things, but they definitely have that kind of ranking, so to speak.
Yeah. What do you think of TikTok? Are you into tech?
I like it very much. I don't produce anything, so I'm just a voyeur of TikTok content. But it's amazing the creativity that's happening there. The people that produce. Of course, there's a lot of noise too, but I don't know if it's this generation, younger generation or not. But it's for me, it's the most creative. And democratic, so to speak. I don't know if it's their algorithm, but so the simple guy or the simple folks can reach have 1 million views and go viral more easily than Instagram or something like that. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I really like it, but to me, I think it drives Chinese propaganda. Not that I have anything against Chinese propaganda. I'm happy. Like, I've been receiving American propaganda for 20 years now. Like, let me get a little bit of new propaganda. But I randomly see kind of accounts that are just telling me about how things work in China and how things are set up. And I'm wondering, like, why am I even getting this? I don't know, why would the algorithm think that I'm interested in this? But, I did end up being interested in that, and I saw more of that. But I think it's a nice tool, though I do think it is controlled in some way by the Chinese government.
Yeah, so there's this thing about the data, right? I didn't quite get the deal that is being closed or made with Walmart and Oracle. Have you managed to get a grip on that?
No. It seems, it's very weird. It just, the information doesn't seem super clear. It's kind of like, Oracle owns it, but Oracle will only warehouse the data, and the algorithm is not being given out. I didn't understand it either. I didn't really get to the bottom of it. I don't know if there's anybody here who understood it properly. Sani, Yusuf, hey.
Hello. Hi, Mark.
Hey, how you doing?
Fine. Pleasure to meet you. Really, thank you for this.
Yeah, so you do YouTube, don't you? You're a YouTube person.
Not really. Am I? No, I've made videos here and there, but not really gotten into the YouTube thing. Not really. I see this is something you're trying to get into, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I just want to change, like expand my audience a little bit, like try new mediums. Like I've been doing Twitter for like 10, well, not 10, maybe 8 years now. And, like I'm really into Twitter, and it works fine, but I'm not really on any other platform. I've on Facebook, I was there for a while, but now I got tired of Facebook. So I just feel like the world is moving towards video. And if you want to just keep staying with the trend, then you also have to move towards video. TikTok is now apparently very important, but TikTok is all about dancing, and I'm a bit lacking in that regard. Something, let me do something where I can just speak, and YouTube looks interesting.
I think that's interesting. So I personally don't have TikTok. I think I've stayed away from TikTok. I've also stayed away from Snapchat. I think it's just, for me, I look at the value propositions. I think it's personally, TikTok is very Gen Z. Like, the algorithm is designed for you to just stay in there, get a lot of entertainment videos. They're probably going to be maybe in the future some, I guess what I say, content that I can really get fulfilled from. I think it's more of okay, I have some free time, let me go just spend time there, versus where YouTube, I can spend an hour or two free on YouTube and I'm actually getting proper content. I'm watching like I'm listening to a podcast or something like that. So I see YouTube being like more like an Audible style thing where I can literally on the go watch a lot of YouTube channels and be learning something, versus something that maybe TikTok. Even that's the same reason why I don't really use the Reels. That's like the TikTok alternative for
Yeah.
Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I just stay away from Reels videos because it's kind of the same thing. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of Clubhouse or if you are on Clubhouse as well.
I don't use Apple. I left Apple a while back, and Clubhouse is apparently only for the upper class, which is the iPhone users. So we, in the normal people, the Android people, we don't get access.
So I'm an Android user myself, but I do have an iOS device. So I got an invitation. I think Clubhouse is one to watch out for because it's what we're doing right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is basic Clubhouse. It's audio only. You can join into these rooms where you can see like CEOs of these amazing companies really having real conversations. I think people like Spotify with their move into podcasting should be really worried. Like Clubhouse is very low, and because it's audio, it's one bandwidth stream, right? On like video calls where, it's multiple bandwidth stream. The more people that join, generally the bandwidth to people ratio is high. But with audio, it's not necessarily the same because it's literally one audio stream you can encode. And that means people that have literally not great internet can really join into Clubhouse and have a productive conversation. I think you should, if you have an iPad or anything, you should definitely look to get an invite. It's like Twitter without the madness, with the real context and productive conversations.
But is it filtered somehow? Is there some way of curating people? Because what happens if it's like a massive room and everyone's just yelling? Yeah, I've never been in there, so I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, so the way it joins is it works is you have like people that create the room and they're moderators, right? You can assign moderators. So when you have a room, you're only listening. Until a moderator decides, I want to drag this person into part of the conversation. And then now you can have your own audio feed. So you can have a room where 1 million people are listening in. 1 million people are listening into like a bunch of, like, let's say on this room now, there could be 1 million people listening to us and getting the context. They don't, because most people that in media, they consume. If you look at Twitter, I think 80% of people actually just consume. They don't really tweet. They just come, consume, see what's happening and go. Very few people create. And I don't think it's the same with, most media stuff. So it's really, really, really interesting. I think you should look into if you got.
So,
like,
but why do you think it's working now? It's not like there's anything new about this technology, like, recording. It has been possible for like 5, 6, 7 years or something. So what's different? What has changed?
That's a good question. I think it's the same with a lot of things, right? It's just timing. It's timing. I feel like if we didn't have the new attitudes we had to podcast, like we've always had radio, we've always had a lot of these things, but the new attitude to podcast that's made things like video podcast possible. Like Joe Rogan has shown that one man can just sit in a place, record himself talking to people, and suddenly has $100 million deal. This Joe Rogan could not do this 15 years ago on radio, even though radio was very audio centric. You get what I mean? So I think consumer attitudes play a huge, huge role into how things like Clubhouse now make sense. And I think there's also Twitter. People have a lot of conversations, but I think it's this jungle where you don't know where you're joining in. It's just, and context is so malleable, and if everywhere, the word context, I think in the past few weeks, as everybody probably gets what I mean, but
no. Now I'm gonna go in there since you brought that up. So you were caught up in one of those things that happens every now and then.
Yeah, I was.
And so what's your, whatever the details are, but what do you think of, will I say, the crowd, how the mob moves on Twitter? Do you think it should be controlled? Because the other time the Twitter CEO came and I met with him and a bunch of other people in Lagos, and he was concerned about what really happens on Twitter. There's a lot of mob action. There's a lot of, people just go at it, and there is absolutely no control. It's very binary. You can block a person or nothing. There is nothing in between. And I guess they have brought these few tools now where you can prevent people from replying, but it's very crude also. Do you think that a big global platform like that should be more controlled in the way it allows people interact with others, or do you think it's okay what's happening now?
I'm generally a pro free speech person, like pro free speech, pro equality of opportunity. which means you have to walk that fine line, right? It's the road to hell is paved with good intentions. We can see the problem that people can use technology to do certain things, good or bad, but then should we not allow them? It's the same thing, because the same way the mob can use, usher into the Dunning-Kruger effect and do crazy things, the same way people can actually do positive things. So it's the same. It's kind of how the platform is designed. I'll be very wary of using anything like control, right? Because who then gets to decide what control is? And that's the problem, right? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. So you think this is the right thing to do, but then you end up creating a bigger evil or disenfranchise people. So I'm willing to stay on a platform where the mob can exist, but at the same time, people still have other freedoms. It's just a deal I have to sign. I have to sleep with the angels and eat with the devils. That's how I call it. That's the deal you have to sign. If you don't, then you move on and go to somewhere else. And I think, so I like what Facebook is doing in terms of like control. Like, I think people look at Facebook as Mark Zuckerberg not doing the right thing. No, you have to be neutral, because when you become an arbiter, you become an arbiter based on your own biases and your own, viewpoints. And that can be very dangerous. That's how every dangerous movement in the world started. It's like, we know what you should and should not say. And then it starts very nice until, all right, I don't like what you're saying too, even though you're my friend, because you're not saying it the way I want you. And then, yeah, I do have one question for you, Mark. It's really, really one itching question. Now, I understand you are a CEO and you've been running a successful company from whilst not living in Nigeria, correct?
No, I live in Nigeria.
Oh, so I for whatever reason, I assume you didn't live in Nigeria.
No. Right now, I'm not in Nigeria, as you can see from the heater at the back. But that's only Corona, because of Corona. Like, I had to leave. My wife was pregnant at the time. I had to leave. Then all the flights got cut off and everything. But normally, I mean, the last 7 years, I've been living in Nigeria, Lagos.
Okay. Congrats. I guess I have to alter my question, and congratulations. And I do understand that, I don't know, you've kind of, despite being CEO of Hotels NG, you've set up the company in such a way that it's almost running an autopilot now, where if, God forbid, a bus hit Mark tomorrow, like, the people know what they need to do. But bus is not going to hit Mark, by the way, but you kind of set it up in that way. And I think that, as an entrepreneur myself, I would really like to know some of the challenges of, as per, setting up processes around a company that you build, your own little baby that is designed for it to be productive with other people, where they're, as well as that way you can also spend your time doing things like this and doing other things and really, really providing value with the skills that you've learned. So if you could please shed some maybe light on that side.
Yeah, well, you are right. If I am completely dispensable to the company. I think if anything happened to me, nothing would happen to Hotels NG. Like, I literally don't know what's going on today, like in terms of our day-to-day operations, like who's getting booked and what's happening and all that. I don't deal with any of that stuff. But it's happening, and it's happening at high quality, as much as we can achieve, right? It's difficult to achieve high quality in Nigeria because everything is broken. A lot of things keep breaking, but we do our best all the time. So how does this work? First of all, the idea of processes, a lot of people accuse me of being very process driven, and I try to be process driven, but unfortunately it doesn't often work because you come up with this brilliant system and so on, but people don't stick with it. It keeps changing and so on. So at some point I came to the realization that you can have a process that is not documented. A process is just simply when people know what they are supposed to do in what situation, and they keep on doing that and they do it correctly. Now, if you document it and you are overly precise about what needs to be done, then the people get scared to vary from that. So they always do exactly that, even when they are not supposed to do that. So the correct thing to do there is to design, to know, for people who are doing a particular job, to know what the goal is, and then make sure they know that they have enough flexibility to achieve that goal. They need to do whatever needs to be done. So the cover process, for example, is all about booking people into hotels, of which there are unlimited number of things that could happen. Like you really can never ever predict all the different problems. For example, we've had a madman who kept on booking a hotel and trying to get into the hotel, and the hotel kept telling us they are not letting this guy in, and we have to call him and he's calling us. How would you ever add that to your process? It's impossible because you just can't predict that would happen. So what we do there is, make sure that on the first level, the people who are picking calls and making everything happen, they know what they are supposed to do, which is make the customer happy, make sure this person gets in successfully. Then the people that are managing them also know what the goal is, and then the person who is managing all the managers also further knows what the goal is. And once you have done that for a while, then it actually becomes a process on its own and everybody knows. But the most important part to me is this. You need the final feedback loop, which is if something goes wrong, it has to come back to me, and then I now cycle it down again, because that feedback loop is really what improves the process, because nobody wants to have heard, oh, the CEO sent this to my manager who sent this to me. So if such a situation would be happening, then they would prevent it from happening automatically. So that's what happens. And what I see then are the gross failures. So I usually have a valve in most processes that allow those gross failures come back. And that's the normal day-to-day everything happening. Then you have projects. A project is, there's this book by Andy Grove that I use as kind of my reference, High Output Management. So basically, the main thing he says is you're running a factory and you have got things that are just running as a straightforward process. And you need to keep your factory running, like it has to run at high level, and you need good people running the factory. So for us, some of our processes are like that. Then you have got projects. Now, projects are things that improve how your factory is running. And typically, a project needs to be done by a smaller set of people. There are only a few people who can actually execute projects successfully. Most people, they don't care. They don't care enough. They're like, I'm getting paid my salary, pick the phone, drop the phone, go home, right? I'm not really concerned with actually going to go and do this thing that's a bit vague. So you have to define out what projects are. You have to know who can execute this project, and then execute those projects, start them, finish them, end them. And then the ones that can only be executed by someone like me, right, like the CEO, not because I'm very smart or anything, but because I've cross-functional or cross-departmental reach, which a department manager doesn't have. Department manager cannot influence another department manager easily, but I can. So such projects, they come to me, and other projects move to different people. Then those people execute it, and they do so successfully. So if you give your projects to the right people, and you give the projects that you need to do, you do them yourself, and make sure that everybody that's operating the factory knows exactly what to do, then normally the business runs. This is only possible after a while. There's no, in my opinion, 1-year-old business that can do this successfully, because you're still really, really figuring things out. But Hotel Center is already 7 years old. At this point, a lot of things are well known, so it can just run and continue.
All right, Mark, thank you very much for the answer. Like, I could go over, but there's a lot of other people, and it's only fair that just saying I got a chance, everybody should get a chance. But amazing information here. Like, you have no idea how far this is gonna go. So thank you very much. Really appreciate that.
All right, no problem. Well, if there's anybody else that has any questions for me, then please unmute and do ask.
Abdulrahman here, or JJ, or Jogbojogbo, anyone.
Hey, Abdulrahman, how you doing? Been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. How you doing?
Not bad. No. Yeah, so you wanted to add some comments.
Yeah, so I heard you talk about how the cross-functional team type structure, and it kind of reminded me of what the team is here. So you know how basically everyone is in a functional team and everyone is also in a product team. And so it's like you have, say you're in growth, you're in marketing, you're doing something marketing, but you're also in a product team, which helps you, which gives you some
in a
sort of
single product team. Can I ask, in a single product team or in a dedicated product team?
I don't get the difference. What do you mean by
Guys,
single
do
versus
you,
different?
like you're in growth, does product have a part of product that is assigned to growth only? Or are you just in the
Oh, no, no,
entire
no, no.
product team, which?
No, so it's like, it's thought of from this angle, which is what type of cross-functional team would be required to push out a product, right? And then everyone that's required to like take that product live and market it and get people to use it and all of that get put inside a product team. But those people also then have their own like proper teams. So if I were in marketing, for instance, I would be reporting to a head of growth under my functional team, but I could also be part of a product team that is building a certain product, where under that product team, I will then report to a product manager, or I could even be the product manager on that team. It depends on how small or big the team is. And that's like
Okay, that sounds like a nice system. Does it work well?
Yeah, it does. We've been doing it for a while now, and I actually like absolutely enjoy it. I enjoy it because it's like you're working in two teams, kind of. The product team, you get to like, how do I explain it? Yeah, it works basically, and I kind of enjoy it because like it gives you like a lot more touch points on different things in the company, and you get to like do a lot of things that you probably wouldn't be able to like do on your own. So you have someone from user ops who is handling user interviews, for instance. You have someone from front end who is working as a front end person on the product team, and also a regular front end person for the general company as a whole. So it kind of works, and I like it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think that's a really nice system.
Yeah. So when you were talking about like your just like at hotels generally, it kind of just like reminded me of how that might be something you probably want to try. Yeah, or experiment with.
Yeah, right. I think that's a great idea. It's something we'll try. Yeah, definitely. All right. Anyway, so do you have any secrets about growth now that you can reveal to us? Anything new you have learned, let's say in 2020? 2020 is the year of growth for everybody, right? So what new things have you learned that you think are not widely known yet? Or you think I don't know?
In growth?
Yeah.
Not many, not, so it's more of, I don't think there's any, like after a while, you kind of realize there's nothing new per se. It's just how well do people do things before they jump onto the next thing. So it's more like everybody knows what to do, but people just don't do it because they are chasing some fancy new shiny thing when there are like basic growth marketing fundamentals that you should try to lock in. A lot of times those things
So
don't look
for
sexy.
somebody, may I jump in there? For somebody who is starting a new company, let's say anybody's on this call and they're starting a new company, what would you say would be like the first two growth channels that they should really be looking at, that they should start off with?
It depends on what the business is. Like it varies wildly. Let me see, what type of businesses have been cropping up of late?
Fintech.
Okay, let's take
Abeg app.
Abeg. Like for Abeg, it's very clearly the most important channel for them is social media. Like very clearly, to try to like get mass adoption from not just the niche tech audience that's like very excited about it, but to get the regular person that shouts at sends their bank account number to Don Jazzy to know that, oh, I can use Abeg for this and stuff like that. So very clearly, that one is like social media. They want to like go in hard on that social media. I'd say that would be like the first. The primary channel.
Don't you think, wait, by the way, wait. Don't you think they should have given influencers like me like 200K to come and be spreading it out to people? Because I was influencing for them and they didn't send me any money.
I did think about that, and I think they're going to get to that phase when they realize that they need engagements, like outside of like the initial excitement. They need like real people outside of tech to actually use it. And I think it's a realization that they're going to
Mm-hmm.
come to. Maybe not like give out cash just like that, right? But like, I'm sure they'll find a way. But like, it has to be, they have to find a way to like monetize first and be able to make some money before they can fund stuff like this, unless they get like an investor or something. But yes, I think eventually they are going to have to like get there when the organic excitement dies down. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be a bit tough for them to monetize, isn't it? Because the transfers are free. Like, what's next? I really can't see the path. The transfers are free, one, and number two, no one is keeping money there. Like, I put money and spend it all because I'm getting like 10 requests instantly from my very good friends, which I can't say no to.
I actually got like 15K. The first day it was just like a joke. I was literally just like sending everyone requests. And then a few hours later, I got requests of mine, and I just like gave out everything. I'm like, okay, now I'm broke again. I don't know. Actually,
I gave out like 15K, and people were sending me 10 naira back.
I don't know yet, actually, but like the thing I know is if you have an app that many people use and people like actually use daily, you almost always find a way to monetize it. I can see that they have like some merch store type thingy, some fundraising stuff, and then they are probably going to do like an adjust stuff too, right? So like, I haven't thought about it yet, but like somewhere in there has to be a way to like monetize in a way that doesn't hurt the users and that people are happy to pay for. Like,
I think so. Yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah, but like in terms of like marketing, to be honest, like I feel like people just don't want to do the basics because it's not shiny and it's not sexy. Yeah, and they want to do the new thing they read somewhere about TikTok, which is nice too, but that is some fundamental that.
So what are the basics, like content, ads, SEO, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the type of business. For some business, I mean, at hotels, for instance, SEO is like you live or die by SEO.
That's a bread and butter.
Exactly. At a payments company, one might at very first glance imagine that it might be a significant stream of traffic, but it isn't. Right, so it means that automatically SEO becomes not so important for a payments company or a fintech company, right? Well, it depends on the type of fintech company. So also, like, there used to be a point where I used to be one of those marketing guys that I used to be very proud about. We grew this thing organically from 0 to 100. But like, I think I'm getting to a point where it doesn't matter, like, you can start from day one and start spending on ads so far as you are spending a lot less than you're getting in return. So,
you know one thing. You know one thing I like about ads, by the way. If you launch a product on day 2 after launching the product, you can instantly get traffic, and you'll instantly get customers, and you'll know if the customers are going to sign up or not. If you do anything organically, you can launch and nothing happens. You know, you're just there waiting for whatever SEO, social, or anything to kick in. But ads is the truth, because it works. You know, all it costs is money, and honestly, money is cheap.
Yeah, I get it. To be honest, also, like, sometimes like SEO lets you quickly know what works, because it's like you are pushing out so many variations of so many different things, so many different messages and stuff. Like, you quickly see which one has the best traction, because you are getting like a wide reach instantly. You're doing so many
ads, paid ads, you mean, right?
Yeah, paid ads. So like that's one other advantage, right? Sometimes companies are lucky, or like they have like really good people at the helm of their marketing, and they get the marketing, the messaging, and everything right from day one, without having to do all of these experiments, and that's good too. It's just that slowly, not even slowly, like I'm no longer that guy that is so excited by, oh, I grew this organically from 0 to 100K users, because most likely if you did, then you most likely could have gotten to 100K a lot faster or gotten to 300K by now if you did ads, and if the ads were like, if you're spending less than you.
True. But I mean, organic growth also means that the product itself is great and people really like the product, which, I mean, it helps your ads perform a lot better if the product is actually a product people want.
Yeah, so, but also when you do ads, and ads help a lot with acquisition, like getting people into the door. But if you do ads and people stay, then that's also like a proof that your product is something people love, right? Because a lot of times you do ads, people join, and then they just leave. You don't have a great product that way.
Yeah. Okay, great. Almost at the end now. Is there any other person that has any other question or comment to add before we end the quick impromptu session? All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.